Hello, guys. I am Shane Davis, 20-year comic book veteran. I'm here with Yanzi Lynn, and today we are talking about the American comic book industry and do comic pros actually buy books? And this is going to segue into a hard realization that the industry's at right now, and this is a pivotal moment for them. And we're going to go through some tweets from Mark Millar. If you guys will, hit like, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications, help this channel out. All right, so we got Mark Millar over here, who I've known, I've met, and I have some communication with. He's a really good guy, really likes comics, really likes knowing what's going on at Marvel and DC, although he kind of doesn't work for them anymore. But he does like to keep up to date with things happening in comics and who's working on what. Now, for people who don't know, he's went and done all his what I would call creator-owned movie type stuff. Kingsman, Kick-Ass, too big, too popular to work at Marvel and DC anymore, but he does his own thing. Good for him. Now he's going to reflect on the comic book industry and the sales and how he used to buy stuff. Let's get into it.
So we have Mark Millar here referring to a tweet from Larry King, where Larry King is saying that you have to make comics commonplace again, not just for comic shops. They gave up newsstands and the like for sales money of the dark market. And we have found out that box office success does not equal comics success. So I guess the reason why they went with the dark market only is because of the fact that there is no returnability, whereas when you go into places like newsstand and all that stuff, bookstores, there's definitely returnability, which is not a good situation for comic publishers now, especially if they know that whatever they're printing, people may not enjoy, and therefore store owners will be able to return all that stuff, and then they'll be like, oh my gosh, now we're stuck with all these returns. Anyway, so Mark goes, it's been a really common complaint that comics need to get out of the specialty stores to catch a mainstream audience. But I honestly think that if the books are brilliant enough, we should all crawl over broken glass in the dark to find them. We always seek great stuff out. Then he talks about his experience, about how he has to basically trawl all the different shops, trying to find continuations of books that he wanted, so on and so forth. Now, this is an interesting part here from Mark Millar. I used to read 20 plus American produced books a month until around 2016. Now, just for context, Mark Millar is actually in Europe, so he probably has to pay a markup, especially get in the same week. So the fact they committed to 20 plus is quite a big deal. Now I read maybe one or two, but spend a lot of the money on Japanese comics. The usual suspects will blah blah with the usual excuses, but talk to your retailer and they'll say they hear this every day. Oh my, is he having comics get talking points?
Yeah, this is the thing. I used to buy quite a bit of comics weekly, maybe 4 to 8 books a week. And the reality is we don't, as the American comic book industry, don't produce the quality of book that drives me to a comic book shop. And I buy less than this, like 2 a month. I buy mainly omnibus, going backwards and stuff I used to collect when I was younger. We just do not, the American comic book industry, we just don't have the draw to the stores. Now, this argument about distribution is the interesting thing because if the product is bad, it doesn't matter how you're distributing it. It's a bad product. You're not going to sell more of it. Now, of course, it'll help a little bit, but not really. If it's bad, who's going to buy it? Doesn't matter how easy it is to find it.
Well, the interesting thing here is that Millar ends by saying the most important thing when a business has taken a wrong turn is to admit a problem. It's the first step to recovery. You can't sell people something they intrinsically don't want. So this is after the fact that we have Gail Simone telling people, okay, these are the things we need to do to get people back into comics again. Then we have Tim Silly talking about that stuff as well. And now Mark Millar is all chiming in. So we have all these considered people who really brought out comics and they're coming back around to say all these things, which interesting timing, I would say.
Well, the timing is now. Like they have to address this. They have to move forward because they're at what I would consider like an event horizon. They're right there at the cusp of the black hole. They're either going to go down or something happens and they try to pull out if they can. I feel like they're trapped. I feel like any efforts they put in right now is just keeping them from getting pulled into a black hole, which is the industry's over. Now, the reality is admitting that they do stuff wrong. And that the key part here is then, well, who did what wrong? We need to not hire them again, which is a real big part of the solution. This is why you're going to see people like Gail Simone, probably Mark Waid pretty soon, Tim Seeley. These people are going to say, well, these are comics by the numbers. Here's some basic points. Why haven't we been doing this? Well, I don't know, Gail. Why have you not been preaching this for like the last 10 years. Like now, when you know things are F, you're going to act like you've been saying this the whole time. It's like, no, you haven't. You've actually been saying, don't hire this person, don't hire that person, participating in whisper networks, cancel culture, and stuff like that. It's basically too little too late, I think. Now, Mark is correct, though, in life, in anything outside of comics, inside comics, you can't fix something until you address there's a problem. Once you realize there's a problem and blame is pointed or accepted or whatever, then you move forward to the solution. And it's important to address. I think the American comic book industry has a really hard problem with this because they went in so far with woke, with the diversity hiring, with the diversity check boxes of characters and representation, and everybody should see themselves. Look at Tim's new Green Lantern thing. That's a perfect example. If you don't if you walk that back and you say, "This is the problem, this is actually alienating our 95% of the world because 95% of the world are heterosexual," then you go, "Okay, well, you're an ist or a phobe." You can't do that, and that's where the American comic book industry finds itself today. It's like, it almost needs new characters, new books that don't go into representation because these are corporate-owned characters that now if like they walk back the community stance or the bisexual Superman on the brand Superman, now Warner Brothers or Superman, the whole brand is phobic. It's problematic to admit that was a problem and now we're not going to do that again. It's really weird, a really weird state. I agree wholeheartedly with what Mark is saying. It's just, how do you execute that?
I guess the only way to execute that is to literally execute the people who have been now gatekeeping the industry by saying, well, it's important that you hire me because I have all these checkboxes. And with my checkboxes, I'll give you the ability to create all these characters with the same checkboxes as me. Instead of focusing on saying everyone has to be able to see themselves in comics, how about we go back to the same old simple answer to everything about comics, and that is be entertaining.
Escapism, entertainment. And while we're talking about escapism and entertainment, Shane Davis's Axcend Level Up, you can go back this crowdfunded book. It is up and still funding. Get yourself a copy today. This is my awesome superhero Spider-Man meets Tron type comic book. If you guys will check out this trailer and hit like, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications.
I dream of a world carefully crafted, beautifully flawed. This is Axcend. In this game of life, there is one thing that determines a victor. A player's ability to grow. A player's ability to evolve. A player's ability to survive. My name is Dog. Choose to play. Choose to upgrade. Choose to level up. Choose to Axcend.